Phones. All right.
All right. I think we are live. I'm actually checking to see if we're live.
Live.
Okay. All right. So good afternoon, all. Welcome to the Media and the Diaspora panel. And I'm Xavier Murphy. I am the founder of Jamaicans.com, this very platform that you are watching right now. And welcome all, and happy Jamaica Diaspora Day to everyone.
Woo!
So yes, so we have a very diverse panel here, folks that are from various industries, from print, from radio, from TV, from social media, folks who are on the production side. So I will be your panelist. However, I will let each one of these folks kind of introduce themselves and tell a little bit what they're about. But before that, one of the goals and one of the things I want us to do, because we have about 50 minutes, is when it comes back, I want to discuss, how you, the folks who are watching, the folks who are in organizations all over the world, how do you tap into Caribbean media? We're going to discuss that. How do you tap into Jamaican and the Caribbean media and the importance of the media, social media? And then we're also going to talk a little bit about new media and meaning social media and all the things that are out there. We have some of the folks here, the younger ones, who could talk about some of the trends and some of those things that are going on. So I'm gonna start out with Khalid. If you could just quickly introduce yourself, kind of tell us a little bit about what you're doing in terms of Caribbean Jamaica media. And so we'll start with you, Khalid, and then I'll move next to Sharon.
So hi everybody, my name is Khalid Thompson. I am the publisher at Island Origins magazine. I should have brought some of my awards over here so I could show off a little bit. But we are South Florida's Caribbean American lifestyle quarterly publication. We cater to a broad swath of South Florida's Caribbean American community. We are Jamaican, myself and sexy man David Muir, who is not on the call with us today. But yeah, we have our print publication that comes out quarterly. We also do islandoriginsmag.com online. My personal background is in music and entertainment. I used to be a touring musician, singer, and came off of the road with Beanie Man, Kimarni Marley, and Kevin Little, and started a few television projects, one of which kicked off on Jamaicans.com several years ago. Island Origins was a magazine before it was a TV, it was a TV program before it was a magazine. I'm also the executive producer of a national television series called Taste the Islands, and I'll stop talking now.
Thank you, Khalid. Sharon?
Hard act to follow, definitely. Congrats, Khalid. Nice to see you. It's been a while. Welcome to the Jamaicans.com family, and also thank you to JDTAN for collaborating to put this event together. I think it's something that's definitely well needed, and it's definitely being well received. Just looking at the comments from all of the different panels that have happened today. I'm Sharon Hamilton Pearson, and this is, oh, sorry, wrong platform. Of course, if you recognize the voice, I'm the lady that reads the news for Jamaicans.com. So thanks to Xavier for pulling me out of my shell. I've always wanted to write. My background is not media. I'm just someone who loves music. And that love of music led me to an internet radio station run by Ed Robinson and his wife, Michelle Arthurton. And I've been a radio personality because I'm by no means a disc jockey like G. Cole. I would like to be like G. Cole. I just love music. And so I use my life experiences to put together a show called The Conduit Show, where I have disparate guests and disparate topics and a mix of music that only those people who are inside my head will understand what the connection is. Sharon P.
All right. Next, we're going to go to Cassandra.
Awesome. Thank you. Excited to be a part of the panel today. Hello, everyone. My name is Cassandra Campbell. I'm in Oakland, California right now. As I'm sure you've collected from my accent, I am a second generation Jamaican. My mother and father are both from Jamaica. My mother's from Kingston and my dad is from Rockabeza. Excited to be in this space with you all to talk about social media and the importance of digital in this COVID era, post-COVID-19 era. My passions, I have a background, master's and bachelor's in behavioral economics that first started me out with a career in politics and now has landed me with a career in tech. I currently work for Facebook. And I'm part of a few different initiatives at Facebook to highlight not only brown and Black business presence in digital, but I have a specific passion point around engaging the Caribbean in tech. So I love all things tech, all things Caribbean, and I'm a makeup artist. So I'm a business owner myself. So looking forward to a healthy conversation.
Great, great. All right, and then we're gonna go to Brittany next.
All right, hi, I'm Brittany. So I'm kind of behind the scenes in Jamaicans.com, don't show my face a lot, but I work on a lot of the videos and the social media, so don't stone me. Sometimes I mess up, but you know, it's part of media, you push things out fast, so I'm mostly behind the scenes doing all that stuff.
Okay. All right, then we're gonna move to Mr. Andre.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Thanks for having me, Xavier. So a little bit about me. I've been doing production pretty much all my life. And how I started or how I got interested in production was while attending the best high school in Jamaica. I used to pass through Arthur Street, and I was also always fascinated with the satellite at JDC.
Wait, you meant Immaculate?
Good one, Kelly. Actually, I went to Jamaica College, the Jamaica College and stuff. So anyway, I migrated and I pursued a degree in communications.
Okay.
I pursued a degree in communications, and after college, I started working for New York Presbyterian. I've done work at Pepsi. I've done work for C-SPAN Network, and I currently is the head of production for one of the on-campus departments at Columbia University. So that's a little bit about me.
All right, and last but not least, Mr. G. Cole.
What's up? First of all, let me know if you can hear me. I'm used to having a ton load of technology. So strange as it sounds, I find it tougher to go simple. If I'm good, I'm good. But I'm from Honduras, born and raised. All right, I don't know nothing about Kingston politics when it comes to schools, so I stay from that one alone. But I'm from Honduras. My background, corporate-wise, is staffing. Right now, I'm on the road, so I'm a quality assurance manager with an engineering company. So right now, I'm in Virginia, trying to make sure that everything goes right on these vessels. But I'm a podcaster, I'm a radio personality, I'm a broadcaster, I do blogging. They say DJ, I just love music, and I say that just to give respect to the real DJs out there. And you know, that's me. I've put out a couple of albums, toured a little bit with my band, so it gives me that background in music that I can't get away from. Not that I want to, but it's a passion, it's a love, and as a result, I've been talking to my favorite artists and some of yours, and just that background in music, stage, theater, stuff like that, that gives me an insight, and you know, makes that connection a little bit easier for me and for the artists and producers, musicians, whomever passing through. Love it. Wouldn't trade it for the world. And here I am, Jamaicans.com.
All right, well, again, we have a diverse set of people here, and I'm gonna start it out really quickly, because one of the things I found about our audience is they're always trying to figure out, how do I get the word out about something? And you know, each of you have a unique perspective on that. And everyone doesn't have to answer because it depends on where you are. But how do you get the word out? I'll give you an example. I constantly get folks, they'll email me or they'll call me up, and I said, start with the basics, which is a press release, which is traditional. And but a lot of times what I get is they're not even sure how to even get that done. And I said, well, Google it, but that's some of the challenges. How do we get the word out? How should they get the word out? How can they get the word out to you and what's out there? So that's my first question. How do they get the word out?
I can start that off. So I'm going to agree with you. A press release obviously is the most simple, straightforward way to get that started. But I think even before that, why don't people actually make sure that the platform that they're pitching to actually matches the message that they're trying to send? And that the message they're trying to send fits in with the content of that platform. So if I'm going to send something to Jamaicans.com, it should have something related to do with the Jamaican community in general. And the way that I'm sending it, if there's a nice, pretty picture on every page, that is horizontally oriented. Why am I now taking something with my phone that looks vertical instead of horizontal? And just the basics. Do the research on who you're trying to pitch your story to. Your story has to read like a story. It can't be, make me tell you about when everything else on the website is, what, where, when, why, the basics that you learned in English in primary or prep school. Just put something sensible and clear together and present that. And if it is well written, if it makes sense to me, I have gotten outreach from people from Canada and from California and whatever. And because my site is a lifestyle Caribbean oriented site, I'm fine to get from Cuba and from Puerto Rico and from wherever. And if the story is worth telling, we're happy to tell the story. But make sure, in other instances, I'm getting, information from a makeup line or a home organizing company that has nothing to do with the Caribbean. And my response is always, did you look at what our site is about? So make sure the message matches and reach out to whoever the contact person is on the site. If they think it's worthy, they will give you the promotion.
Anyone else?
I can go. I'd like to say that for most people, they have to realize that you don't have to be an established entity to be professional, right? For example, I get anything from commercials, from people just wanting to post for them to promote stuff. And of course, musicians. And let's take it even to the musicians, since I get a lot more of those. It's even like simple thing as getting music and it's not tagged. So I get an MP3 of a song and say, listen, this is my single. This is my brand new joint. I need some support on this. What's the deal? And I pull it up and it has no tag. It has no title. It has nothing. Right. And on top of that, mediocrity sometimes, it doesn't matter what line of work and business you're in, you're always going to go for the thing that looks or sounds or feels more professional than the other one. And it is what it is. Some people don't know better. A lot of people do. For those who don't know better, find out from somebody else. I'm a firm believer that do the research. You know what I mean? This is the age of Google. There's nothing you cannot find. And professionalism is key. I've spoken to a lot of the younger, proper, successful artists right now, producers, musicians, people, the movers and shakers. And I think what they're winning with outside of just talent right now is professionalism. There was an era before us that, aborted professionalism. Management wasn't that important for them. Let me just roll with my cousin, my granny, uncle, nephew, niece, sister, cousin, brother, wife, daughter, friend, but we're cool. And they didn't know what they're doing. But right now, these kids are winning with the fact that they've got a team, they've got people doing the right stuff. And a lot of times when we talk to people about that, the next thing they mention is the budget. But the reality of it is this: it costs, man. It costs. You don't have to spread out your funds in 15 different directions. Guess what? Pool stuff, get this one person to do it right, then you move on. If it's photography, let me get that one done right, let's move on. And then if I need the editing done, let me put that funds together, get that done right, and then we move on. Instead of spread out the one little budget, I know I'm gonna have somebody take a picture with his iPhone, somebody recording it with his iPhone, and then it all comes together and look like an iPhone production. And don't get me wrong, the new iPhone is bomb, so it's gonna look dope, but I'm just saying it's not gonna be comparable industry standard. So
Yeah.
it's all about it right, or for lack of a better word, low it.
And I'm gonna say there's a laziness element to it, G. Cole. Like when you're talking about people don't even tag their stuff, how long is it gonna take you to write the name of the song and the name of the artist on an MP3, right?
It's quicker than sending the email, you know.
It is quicker than sending the email. So don't be lazy. Professionalism literally can be just doing the basics. If this is the way that you want something to come into your inbox and look and feel, that's the way that you should send it out of your inbox as well.
I also want to just jump in and say that you have to also target the audience that is going to respond most. I think that was the point that Khalid made. And I see this all the time when people are sending out press releases. I you know, in the day of digital era, press releases are good, but I think people have kind of moved away from that because we're bombarded with so much information. You're not going to spend time looking at something that's boring, that's not captivating to you. So you're not going to waste your time promoting that. The other tip that I would say is that send your information to the people who are influencers. They will do the rest of the work for you.
Yep.
Yeah, I will follow that up. I think, you know, thinking about this digital world, when you have something to give to someone, give it to yourself first. That means make a presence online. You got to have a web page, use a Facebook page. I'm not here to promote Facebook, but it's free. So if that means you taking all of your assets and starting to collect it in your personal Facebook page to then share out to your larger community, people who love you, care about you, and want to champion you in this digital world, give them a place to point people to. I second what Sharon said around having good quality assets. This is video, baby. We need video content, not just clear, beautiful images, but video tells the story. You know, we're moving beyond just a nice picture. Pictures are great, but what I find, and I'm specifically in the advertising space, is that people click on video content that's compelling. It makes you feel a type of way. So I would encourage that when you are looking to get the word out, absolutely what Khalid said around the message, quality creative, but then you have to have a place to host your content on, whether it's your personal website or a free website like Facebook.
You know, and I know times I'm going to touch on that whole video thing too. I guess that's where we are. This is the era. But I always advise clients when they come to see me, whenever somebody wants to do something, I'll try my endeavor best. Could you come sit down with me so we can pick each other's brain and what we can do? But here's what I'm going to say when it comes to that whole camera thing and that video stuff. Cameras either show you up or they show you off. And if they're not showing you off, they're showing you up. So here's the deal. If what's coming through on that video it is not popping and it's not showing you off, delete. You know what I mean? And hopefully you have a good friend that'll hit delete for you, because it's either gonna put you out there or make sure you never get out there.
Absolutely. So share it with your friends first. Share the video with your friends. You got to have your core group that you're like, is this good? What do you guys think about this content before you go live?
And I'm gonna interject on real quick, Xavier. You know that I'm one of those that is a perfectionist, and if my thing don't set a certain way, I don't want to put it out a lot of the time. That said, I am seeing a lot of videos with people literally just walking around with them, whether it's a selfie stick or just their phone outside with nature in the background. And because of what they're saying, as Cassandra said, it's just compelling. And so it doesn't necessarily matter all of that stuff. So, you know, we're not saying it has to be one way or the other. It just has to be compelling, and it has to look good, right?
Yeah, call to action. What is the point, right?
I'm watching my time. So I kind of had three big discussions and three big things I want to talk about before our time runs out, because we also have questions that we have to go to. But I want to kind of wrap this section up, or this question up, by just saying, folks need to realize, and it never came up one time, and I keep telling folks this, we're out of this flyer mentality. where we create a flyer and think that that's all we need to do and share with everyone. Guys, if you're watching this, you heard it. You didn't hear anyone mention the word flyer. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right. Let me move to the next question I had, and which is, and you kind of touched on it in terms of what type of media is available in the, you know, to the diaspora, you know, here, and what's kind of popping, as they say. No, you know, and I'm actually going to be a little bit more targeted with who I asked to kind of jump into this, because, you know, there's a lot of new stuff out there. So I'm going to start out with like a Brittany and a Cassandra on this particular question in terms of, you know, what's new, what's out there, and then we can, you know, the others can kind of come in. Andre, I'd love to hear from you, because I know also in terms of video platform, you know, you're on Apple TV, you're on, you know, Roku, you're on some of these other platforms out there. So feel free. So it's basically what type of media platforms are out there apart from the website, apart from print, what else is out there?
Yeah, I'll start. I know on social media, I like to see memes. So I know, like, I'm born in America, obviously. My parents are Jamaican, so I love to see, did your Jamaican parents do this, or who else's parents did this or said this word funny. So I personally love those videos. I love those memes. And I see a lot of like Jamaicans, you know, kind of talking about that kind of stuff online.
Definitely. I love a good meme. I feel like Major Hype's page, you know, for the Caribbean community, you know, you get a good laugh. And for us second generation Jamaicans, it's a great way to like participate, because oftentimes the Jamaicans born in Jamaica don't really recognize our Jamaicanness. All right.
Yeah. That's why I said I'm American, because when I say I'm Jamaican, they tell me I'm not. And it's always back and forth. It's like, do I say I'm Jamaican or American?
That's a whole nother lie, Xavier. So,
that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, a whole nother discussion. But, just to follow up what Brittany said, I love, I'm active on Instagram. You know, if you are a brand, so you think about this not only as a user, but a brand. And I feel like, to Gregory's point earlier, you have to look at yourself as a brand, right? So how do you show up? And I'm not saying everyone has to have a brand presence on Instagram, but the story and the capabilities that exist on the Instagram platform to tell more beyond the picture story. Hey, what's your supply chain like? You know, what is production for you look like? How are you engaging in your community? How are you keep like that ability to show a 5-second, 10-second, 17-second curated snapshot of your brand beyond just a photo is possible. So I think about not just a Facebook page. I mean, I have a whole like package for how I suggest businesses start and where to go. But I think specifically for Jamaicans, having presence on all of these platforms is a start. Sign up, open your computer. This is to my mother and my father who are watching. Get on Facebook, okay? Don't run from it, run toward it, get involved, get engaged, because there's so much that's possible, but you have to start. So.
Okay, so I'll follow. You're totally right. You know, my background is I'm a traditional broadcaster, right? And I somewhat didn't believe in most of the platforms. Actually, I've been off most of the platform for an extended period of time. And after having a conversation last week with a good friend of mine who knew himself, you know, my perspective changed. You know, so a little bit about me that I didn't explain, I didn't say earlier, is that I have a platform called C-Core Network, which is Caribbean community-owned regional entertainment. And we're on 7 major platforms, right? So we have Apple TV, Roku, Fire Stick. We have the mobile apps coming later this month. We have the web OS platforms and stuff like that. But one of the things that I realized in the last month, right? I work with a couple pages, and I have some original content that I've been that I produced over the years, right? And within 1 month, I took one page from 27,000 subscribers to 62,000. And one of the things, the amazing things that I realized was that some of the videos that we post, like, I mean, in a day, you'll have like 50,000 people watching the content and stuff like that. So as far as the platforms are concerned, I mean, Facebook is a unbelievable resource to a lot of people who don't have the financial ability to develop a Roku or a Fire Stick or anything like that or whatever. But I tell you, you know, this is a platform, even not just Facebook, but even with Instagram and stuff like that. I mean, we could definitely engage our community through these platforms, because especially the second generation, you know, my kids, Xavier's kids and stuff like that. I mean, the first thing they jump to is a Instagram or Facebook, you know, Twitter or whatever the case might be, and that's something that I've overlooked for years. So I mean, I'm excited to really engage the diaspora with these platforms moving forward.
Good. I'm looking at my time here. Go ahead, Sharon. Go ahead.
Just very quickly. So my question to all of us who are on this platform and the wider audience, I'm very much along the lines of self-reliance. And my question is, where are the Facebook platforms? Where are the Instagram platforms that our minds can create for ourselves? Because my grandmother always said, God bless the child that has his own. There's going to come a time when the platforms that we rely on will not be there for us. We already know about net neutrality. So we should be looking ahead to say, what happens if yesterday, for instance, the whole of the T-Mobile network went down and there were issues and we were all scrambling, like, why can't I not make a phone call? We have to be thinking about these things, because the pandemic that we're living in has shown us that normal is gone. It's a new normal. So we have to look at the new normal in every aspect. And since we're all in media, that's where we should be focusing as well. So we were looking for all of the technicians, the technologists and whatever who are out there to come up with a program that's exclusive for us in the diaspora.
I think that's an excellent point. And I think it goes back to what Xavier said earlier, traditional marketing, own your email list. When people come to your page, collect their email addresses. Don't just rely on Facebook or Instagram or any of these other platforms to store that information for you, because it is about the ability to stand on your own as a business. You want to own your customer list. So organic marketing, send them an email. What's going on with your business? Like getting back to traditional marketing, but leveraging the free platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter to then tell a really creative and beautiful brand story. But I agree with that.
I'm going to say this. There's a term I use all the time. It says this: until a lion tells his side of the story, the tale of the hunt will always be glorified by the hunter. Yeah. I'm gonna move on, because again, I want to allow some time for the questions from folks. The other topic we kind of got into it a little bit, which is, are we reaching as a media our second and third generation Jamaicans? They said it, and let me say this: they are Jamaicans. You know, my kids knew they knew the Jamaican national anthem before they knew the American national anthem. Okay. And I mean, there's so many stories I could tell you. So, you know, they are Jamaicans, and part of why Jamaicans.com was created was to carry on a legacy, to tell a story, and to be the person to tell the story, not someone else. And that's what we as Jamaican media, Caribbean media do. We tell the story like it is. It's our story and we need to tell it. So my thing is, are we reaching the second and third generation? And it's kind of tied to the platforms that we talked about earlier, because keep in mind, they're not going to read as we used to read, and people don't read as much anymore. If your title is not attractive, you said it, Sharon. Press releases today, I've seen an evolution, you know, in the way press releases are written, and they're not written now where it's just a statement. It's written more to tell a story, which is great. Okay. But the point is, are we in our media, in our space, in our media space, are we reaching the second and third generation?
Jamaicans?
Yes.
I think we kind of fall short a little bit in that one, primarily, and it may be a business move that's backfiring, because I think that a lot of times people are not reaching out to a different audience. I think for some reason, and this is just my experience, I think people have somewhat come to the conclusion that there's less of a financial viability from our market, which I totally disagree with. But they're reaching out to the main, what they call the mainstream market. Okay, I'm trying to get the young kids that are the hip hop heads and those kind of people, and are somehow alienating our audience, when in all honesty, it is a target market that's ripe. The thing about it, you mentioned a little bit earlier, and is different means and ways of communicating with people. The newspaper entities that are still successful today did not avoid the internet when it came out, and they also didn't do away with the original print. They went with both, right? So those newspaper companies that are doing well right now, when the internet came out, they went to the internet, but they maintained print. And I think we're going to have to take that approach too, in terms of, okay, if I'm reaching out to people in magazines, it doesn't mean that I'm falling short on my website. If I'm doing things on my website, just like Jamaicans.com, it doesn't mean I'm falling short on my on my social media presence, or whatever the case may be. We just have to tackle all angles. That may be time consuming, it may require a team, and that's something we've got to put together. But as I speak to our audiences out there, amazingly enough, my podcast, it's downloaded in over 44 different countries worldwide right now. And I always, and even traveling the world, I've realized this. There's a Jamaican in every country there is. I've never been to a country in the world, and I've probably traveled to maybe 30 countries in the world right now. I didn't hear somebody with a fake accent, somebody with a fake Bob Marley knockoff t-shirt, somebody with a fake Portuguese or something, but you can't tell him nothing. Jamaica, we're all across the globe, and I think we have to take that mindset that we're everywhere, every time, and we've got to use all the mediums. So if you're online, if you do videos, don't decide not to do audio too. If you're doing audio, don't stay away from video. Don't feel like you're not supposed to be on Facebook. Use every angle you can find, because not everybody is everywhere, but we're all looking for the same thing.
Good point.
Yeah, I think I find that with the next generation of Jamaicans, particularly, because I don't know, the rest of the Caribbean community so much, in terms of media. But what I find with my second generation Jamaican friends is that they appreciate, in terms of their media consumption, I think they appreciate American stuff a little bit more for whatever reason. So they listen to the dancehall music and thing. But when it comes to news and so forth, it's part of what we are, we're exploring at Island Origins, just trying to bridge the gap a little bit. Is this the music is there, the food is there, they appreciate the music and the food, but then when it comes to messaging, are we talking about a lot of the stuff that happened back home? Like our platform specifically speaks to a Caribbean American audience, so it's that bridge builder, right? It's what's going on in South Florida and in Atlanta and in New York and so forth. We do get sucked back into talking about what happens at home, but when you're a kid who grew up here and maybe you went home for Christmas or summer back in the day or whatever, you don't really care about political, geopolitical, socio, in Jamaica, you want to know what dance is happening here and what's going on in Carnival and what people are wearing, and so I think the messaging needs to change a little bit. There's a site called Atlanta Black Star, I think, that does very well with the owners of that. I believe one of them is Jamaican, and they do a good job at kind of bridging that gap. A lot of the time it's something that we're I'm not going to say struggling with, but we're aspiring towards as well, bridging that gap. And I think that, as Brittany talked about, the memes that kind of hearken to what their Jamaican parents say or whatever, but is not beyond the realm of things that they can grasp and understand. And a lot of times, even when we're talking to each other, we will, I don't want to use the word devolve into patois, but we fall into those kind of patterns. And whilst a Jamaican child can probably understand it, it's not very welcoming and opening to their friends and their community as well. So it kind of puts us in a little tunnel if we don't consider all those things.
Can I just jump in and say very quickly, there is a shortfall in terms of handing down legacy. I know Xavier is a great example of holding the hands of his children and leading them into their culture, which is primarily Jamaican, right? And I think more people need to do that. And that's where the break in communication, the break in the continuation of the culture being carried on through generations. Because how did I, not born in Jamaica, get so steeped in Jamaican culture? Take away the fact that I lived in Jamaica from 11 to 14, 3 years, and nobody can tell me that I'm not Jamaican, yeah? I was it was my ancestors, my grandparents, my aunts and uncles instilled that culture in me, and that's what I rock back on all the time. So we're at fault there for not bringing the next generation. I think in media, one of the things that we can do is reach out to a young person of Jamaican heritage, bring them into whatever industry we're in and train them, because we're not going to be here forever. Who's going to pick up the baton? Somebody else who's not Jamaican.
And just one last point to that, I think for me, I'm in California. My family's not here in California. They're in Virginia, Massachusetts, Jamaica, Texas. They're everywhere else but here. And the first way I plugged in, someone, I believe it was Kimon. Kimon invited me to the Jamaican Association of Northern California. So that was like my first introduction as a young person to get involved locally with the local chapter. And from there, I found out about all these other, Jamaican networks that existed, including the Jamaican Computing Society, which is a tech Jamaican society. So plugging in locally to chapters that have like membership drives to bring Jamaicans together, and then figuring out programming from there, I think is a great way to kind of start from a presence perspective. But for messaging, I think, find your fellow Jamaicans who are second generation, third generation, and remind them they are Jamaican. Tell them they're Jamaican, and then bring them into the fold of whatever it is you're creating, whether it's for yourself as a business owner or an attempt to bring more people, more Jamaicans on board to whatever, whatever mission you're driving. I just think it's that conversation. Hey, come over here with me, hand hold.
And I'm gonna say there's something so interesting that I've noticed. Jamaican families fiercely hold on to their Jamaicanness. So 2-3 generations down the line, yeah, man, I'm a Jamaican, right, Brittany? Yeah, man, I'm a Jamaican. And Cassandra, right? And I spoke to a Cuban person, and in just doing the research that we do because of our, our for-profit business, which is the magazine, and our nonprofit Island Space, where we look at the broad swath of the Caribbean community. I've met Cuban people who will be like, well, yeah, my parents are Cuban, but I've never really thought of myself as Cuban, or they, publications, other publications in their writings about our communities will say, there's a bunch of Cubans who migrated up from Miami to Broward, as well as the Jamaicans and the Haitians, but they have assimilated so much into the community that you can't tell them different from the from the mass market or whatever.
That was
mom. I don't
So real quickly, I know a lot. I've seen some comments on Facebook, but this is an engaging conversation. We will get to your comments. We'll answer your questions. I have one final question before we kind of wrap up, and it is this. You could do a yes or no with a one-line comment, okay? Because of time. But do you believe that the business people, companies, even within our Caribbean Jamaican business community, give the Jamaican/Caribbean media the respect and realize the uniqueness. You could do yes or no now that they should. So a quick yes or no, if you want to give a little comment, that's fine.
Say it one more time. Say it one more time, the question.
Okay, so the question really is, do you think the Jamaican and Caribbean media get the respect from the business community? That's pretty much a question.
I want to jump on that, and I'll say
yes.
Absolutely not. Right? You'll have some companies who do give support to our platforms and stuff like that. But one of the things that you find is that they don't look at us as a traditional, authentic company in terms of broadcast opposed to digital media. So as far as digital media, they spend way less than they would a traditional broadcast organization. And as such, I think they need to do more in the digital space in terms of stop comparing broadcast to digital in terms of the new platforms are out there, and give more support to us. I strongly believe that they fall short where that is concerned.
All right, you got 3 lines. I'm going to give someone else an opportunity.
I'm going to say no. If we're talking about the Jamaican or Caribbean businesses, I'm going to say not in general. If they like what you're doing in a particular way, or if your product is professional, sometimes they will spend the money with you, and sometimes it's an ongoing challenge. Let me leave it at that.
I'd say no also. But I think half of that is culture too, in terms of culturally we're inclined to go outside of our own to seek a lot of things. All right. We have our own magazines, we have our own media productions and stuff like that. But for some reason, people will think that, you know what, if I go to the mainstream one, it's going to cost me, 60 times more. Even though you're going to go over there and find out that you can't afford that, and you don't. When you go over there, you don't argue with them enough. But when you come to the Jamaican entity, your negotiation skills are on point. You know what I mean? So I think half of that is culture.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else, real quick? I want to wrap up that segment.
I was going to say yes and no. There are businesses who do support their media entities. The problem in that is they tend to go to the same media entities who scream and shout and make a lot of noise, and the money doesn't trickle down to other media entities. So it's like there's a bottleneck. So it's both sides.
Okay. And let me talk about business. I want to big up one business that sponsored this particular event before I say what I have to say. And I want to big up Western Union Grace Kennedy Remittance Services for underwriting us for this particular Jamaica Diaspora Day. Big up to them. Thank you very much for the community.
And I'm going to big up Grace too. Sorry, I have to just do this real quick.
That's a marketer right there.
So, but I want to say this. I had a conversation the other day trying to explain to someone the value of us as media entities and the uniqueness, because their comparison was, I can pay XYZ. Why should I pay you XYZ? And my conversation went like this. I said, you could go fishing and you want snapper. And what you do is you go out and you're fishing and all you're getting is grunt. Now, don't mind this. I love grunt. I prefer grunt to snapper, right? But you're going out and all you're catching in that area is you're catching grunt and you're catching everything else, and you get a one snapper here or there. But if I told you you could go and get snapper, straight snapper all the time, right over there, wouldn't you prefer to go where you can get snapper and pay the little extra instead of throwing the grunts back in because you didn't want grunt? The work you're taking to separate the grunt from the the snapper, which you only get in a little bit of the snapper. So the point being is we are unique. And because we're unique, we should be valued in a different way than you're going to value the mainstream media, because you're getting the targeted audience that you are seeking at this point in time. And so that was my conversation. Y'all are free. I'm not going to copyright that snapper example. Example.
Analogy.
y'all can use it freely.
Thanks, Xavier. I'm going to jump in here and say that I had an interaction with a lady at a PBS station at one point in time. And I asked her, I said to her, we're the first Caribbean cooking show that I've seen on Create TV and on the PBS network overall. Why is that the case? And she said to me, she's a programming director in New York or New Jersey or somewhere. And she says to me, oh, well, I guess, you know, we just believe you guys are so well assimilated that we don't need to create anything for you, especially. And no, but that's because you see too loud. Because you see too loud. But yeah, that was kind of my internal reaction, not my outward one, because I had to behave myself properly. But that was my reaction. Like you create shows in Mexican travel and Italian cooking and all these kinds of stuff. So why would you downplay the value of the Caribbean community? In South Florida, I believe Jamaicans, they count us at maybe like 100,000 and Haitians at 300,000. And I believe our internal numbers, including people who didn't want to answer the census, might be about 3 times that. However,
about 4.
There you
about
go.
4.
However, I think the reality is that you know, the people who are doing the measuring don't think our metric is important. I think they lump us in with the people who spend money on shoes and bag and car. And when it comes to the other things, you know, you'll get it on Channel 6 or Channel 10 or NBC or wherever. Anyway, we don't necessarily need to invest in the snapper fishing because we're going to get these snapper from, you know, from casting a wider net anyway. So I think therein lies part of our challenge.
We need to educate folks too, or maybe folks need to educate themselves, because one of the things that I've found with mainstream media is a lot of times that it overcasts your target audience. For example, what I do, I can regulate, I can tell you exactly how many people I'm reaching every given time. That's my metrics. Half the reason I use Facebook is when people ask me for the metrics, I can always say, you know what, here's the metrics that I'm going to give you, but you can go ahead and take a look there, versus you asking a company for their analytics, because their analytics can be skewed, right? And it's no different from the whole Instagram, Facebook concept right about now, where people buy followers and stuff like that. They're not buying those people to advertise to. They're buying those people to advertise those people to you, right? So you have a product that you're trying to sell, and they come with the 50,000 followers, the 500,000 followers, which 490 not real, but you're impressed by that. So you're not trying to sit down and, you know what I mean? So you're selling our product to some robots. You know, but a lot of it is culture. I've said this to a client before, you know, kind of our prospective client. Luckily I didn't lose them, but I've said pretty much, you know, most people know your worth, appreciate what you do, see the depth of what you do and appreciate it until you hand them an invoice. Because most people, and they'll tell me the reason why they're coming to me. They've seen the connection, they've seen the reach, they've seen the interaction, they see what we can do. Can you do this for me? Absolutely, I can. And I'll show you what I can do, and I can show you what I can do for you. But once we get to the point, okay, so now that you know, this is what it costs, because it's costing me behind the scenes. These cameras aren't free, these microphones aren't free, this internet service is not free. Then all of a sudden, man, my mama just died.
I would say too that intentionality as a business owner, you have to actively seek to work and do business with a Jamaican publishing company or a Jamaican export-import company. You have to move with that level of intentionality. And if what I'm hearing amongst all of us is that we need to, as Jamaicans and in reaching out to the diaspora, say specifically, let's champion Jamaicans by doing business with Jamaicans. The only way you get better is by starting. So if that means that your business isn't that great today, you need to do business and kind of go through the, you know, the growing pains, they call it, of having someone give you tough feedback. You know, you're not responding to me on time. The quality of your work isn't okay. We have to be comfortable with being business owners and hearing feedback that we don't like, and not choosing to say, oh, I no longer want to do business with you now, but moving beyond that and saying, from Jamaican to Jamaican, you're helping me get my business in a healthier place so that I can get more business.
Great points there. We're almost out of time, and there are a few comments that I saw. Thank you very much. We'll try and get to those comments after. We'll respond after. I wanted to have a word out, final thought in terms of getting involved in media. You have some people that may be watching, and I want to encourage folks. So I'm going to ask this quick question, and it's just a roundabout question to all. What do you enjoy the most about being in media? And so just give me a quick one line. What do you enjoy the most? And if you have anything encouraging that you want to say, because there may be some folks that are watching that say, you know what, I want to get involved in media. I want to, get the word out. Real quickly, we'll go around the room. I'm going to start with Brittany, and then we'll move on to everyone else.
What I enjoy is being able to go to events, and once you show up with a camera, it's kind of like, you can go behind the scenes, get up close to the celebrities. So I like those perks. And my advice would be, don't let your age stop you, or if you're not Jamaican or from the place you're working with. I've even worked in college Hispanic marketing place, and I don't really speak Spanish. So don't let those things hinder you. If you think it's something you can do or you want to learn more about, just test it out. Try to stay connected with the right people and just try to get better at it.
Anyone else? Else?
Well, I'll say traveling, and definitely the production part of it. Just last year, I've been on a plane at least 30 times, right? And that is, traditionally, you have a lot of people working in offices, and to me, that's just boring. With me, I like going different places, meeting different people, interacting, with a lot of celebrities and just people in general. And that's how you learn, So I'll definitely say the traveling part aspect of it, and also the production part of it.
Make sure you have a passion for it. Make sure you have a passion. Make sure you have love, because here's the deal. It's a lot of work to get what you see. So for you to see an hour show, it's probably 24 hours to get that show on there, and sometimes even longer. So what I love about it more than anything is I'm a fan of music, I'm a fan of culture, and it gives me an opportunity to sit down with the people I'm a fan of. So when people watch the show and they love the show and they say they're engaged, it's because truthfully, I'm just having a conversation with somebody I'm a fan of. You just happen to be overhearing it. So make sure your passion is there, your love is there, and I think the other things will fall into place, because it's a lot of work.
I love helping brands tell their stories. I love listening to the challenges and really helping them strategize ways to, break through whatever obstacle they're experiencing. I love thinking strategy,
I think, well, for me, as Brittany says, don't let your age stop you from what you're doing, right? And I would send that to anybody who wants to be in media. Don't listen to the naysayers. Listen to your heart, because if you have a passion for something and you don't actualize it and realize it, you'll have no peace in your life. And I can speak from experience. So go ahead and do it.
And I'm going to say that the thing I love most is being able to tell our stories by ourselves and not having other people control the narrative. And with that, can we close with a Grace ad? Produced by Island Syndicate. May I share my screen since this is sponsored by Grace? Am I allowed? May I share my screen?
So, Khalid, go ahead. Go ahead
All
and share your screen real quickly.
All right. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this Asian guy eating a burger?
Right.
All right.
Summer's here, and we know just how you can spice things up. Try the authentic flavors of Grace Jamaican jerk seasonings and sauces. With a taste this good, you can't help but share. And the perfect companion for your summer meal? Try fruity and refreshing Grace Tropical Rhythms. Online or offline, inside or out, let's keep making great memories together. Chill and grill with Grace.
Nice.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Grace Foods, for hiring local. All right.
So with that, I want to say what I really love about this, and you know, some of you said it. I love history. I love culture. I love telling our story. And reason I started Jamaicans.com was just that. When we started, there was 2 websites online when we started. 25, going on 25 years this December. And when we started, there was one website with some basic information on Jamaica. And there was another website which had a listing of alumni email addresses. Nothing comprehensive out there. And I said, somebody needs to tell the story about Jamaica. And that is what we set out to do. And I've met so many people, had so many great experiences. I've learned so much about Jamaica that, you know, when I lived in Jamaica, I didn't even know half of the stuff. Okay. I could tell you, you know, I have a sense of what's going on and so on, but it's telling the stories that I really, really enjoy doing. And the other thing I really enjoy doing is opening up the platform for others to tell their story, to see other success stories around. I truly enjoy hearing the success story of other Jamaicans. And if I can help to make your story a successful story, I, by all means, am going to do whatever is possible I can do to make your story a success, because we're a resilient people. You put us in any situation and we typically are going to bubble to the top. And that's just who we are. That's who we will always be. And I hope we continue to tell the stories of our second and third generation, not just us, but our second and third generation. We have a successful young lady here at Facebook. You know, we have Brittany over here, second generation, who, you know, is the COO content manager, CCO, sorry, content manager for Jamaicans.com. So we need to highlight these stories and continue to do it. And that is what you all do as media. You tell our stories, and you tell our stories only the way we can do it. I see that we have gotten a little bit more time, and I'm gracious to our team that has done that.
No, we're over time, Xavier.
Okay, so thank you all for joining, and we will answer the questions as we can in the comments. All right, so thanks everyone, and have a great rest of the Jamaica Diaspora Day. And thank you all panelists.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thanks for having me.
bye.
Big up Jamaica.